Hey guys, it's your boy Eli from the Geek Centurions. We're here with my good buddy Daniel. What's up, Daniel?
What's up, man? Glad to be back.
Oh man, it's always fun to have you around. So today, since it's like what October 3rd,
Yeah.
how about we talk about some little spooky horror things? So like we're gonna start off with something I think that's really fun to talk about is horror video games. And Daniel, you're huge into horror. I know that.
Yeah, yeah.
And knowing you, you probably like a lot of horror games.
I do.
So you got any good example for us?
Let's see. Oh, well, let's get this right out of the bat. Resident Evil, that's always a great series to go
Oh
to.
yeah. I grew up playing Resident Evil 4, and that was always a fun game.
Yeah.
It was more actiony, but it still had that horror element, so I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, like, kind of went through the whole catalog back then. Like, I started out with the PlayStation ROMs on the PS3 when they were selling it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I played 1, 2, and 3. Had fun with those.
Any other examples?
Uh, let's see. There's one. It's gonna hurt when I say this because it still hurt. We're still hurting from it. Like this demo. It's a really
Oh,
yeah,
oh, I know what you're talking about. I know
yeah,
what you're talking about.
yeah. Hideo Kojima's and Guillermo del Toro's PT, which was supposed to be Silent Hills.
Oh yeah. Then Guillermo del Toro was gonna find out for like another horror game. It was like
Like,
Psycho or something.
like he has previously tried to make games before. I remember one he was supposed to do one with THQ,
Yeah,
called Insane. But
that's the one I was thinking about.
yeah, but unfortunately, THQ shut down, and yeah, he could never get his game made. And his latest attempt was with Kojima to make Silent Hills, but you see what happened.
Oh yeah.
And
At least we got Death Stranding out of it,
that's true. But what kind of
and the pissing Norman Reedus,
yeah,
which is always a good thing
what's kind of
to somebody.
yeah, what's kind of sad about it though is that Del Toro, he said after all these failed attempts, he doesn't think he's going to try to get into the game industry again, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, we'll see him soon, depending on how Death Stranding does.
Yeah.
But no, that's the whole idea of today's talk is like talking about like horror games. But let's start off with something more intellectual, I guess. And let me ask you this, Daniel. What, in your opinion, what makes a good horror game?
A good horror game.
Like, what do you look for in terms of a horror game? Try not to say movies. I'm really
Like, nah, like, let's see. I mean, you just gotta make it scary. I mean, you gotta avoid the stupid cliches, like jump scares or
yeah. And I think in a lot of games, I think that's too easy for a lot of games. You can say that for the movie industry too.
yeah,
Jump scares are too easy. Um, but and one of the things I really want to in a horror game, and this is gonna go to one of the games I'm gonna talk about later, is the game Until Dawn.
oh yeah, it's that one.
Yeah, that game was like super into that was like the big horror game of the like past 2 years.
Yeah, like it was that PS4 exclusive came out like a couple of years ago. Like I think around maybe 1 or 2 after its launch.
Yeah, and it was like a very detailed kind of graphics, a lot of motion capture, a lot of face capture.
Yeah.
And the thing I really liked about that game was the ambiance. Like whenever you're essentially, for those of you guys who never played the game, it's about these group of friends that go into this old camping lodge. It's always a goddamn camping lodge.
Yeah.
And it was to honor a friend who passed away, right? Like two friends.
Yeah, it's this character, one of the characters, sister and someone else. I think it was a friend. But
Yeah.
I know it was two characters that died there and they went back to respect.
Yeah, and then like from there, this weird sort of mystical, yeah, I wouldn't psychological thing going on.
Like, it's so much is going on because yeah, like at one point there's a slasher, and then out of the nowhere we get these weird creatures, and
Yeah,
it gets bizarre, but it's still a fun horror game.
it's a fun horror, and I really liked was like because essentially you're walking in the woods in the snow. It's you can tell, you can see from the way the actors are playing. It's very cold. You can tell it's very silent. All you hear is like the wood creaks and animal sounds, and it's just you as a character walking around in the dark. And I felt like that was very good for a setup, especially if like you play in the dark.
Yeah.
It gets a lot of freaking, and that also brings me to another game. Uh, Say what you will about this game, but it was like one of the big horror games when it came out was Slender Man.
Oh, Slender, yeah.
Yeah, Slender. That was like a cult classic in my opinion. Because like it didn't get that much attention when it came out, but it was like if you knew video games, you knew Slender Man.
Yeah, I mean, like, pretty much almost everyone on the internet knew about it too, because that was like the height of creepy pastas, and Slender Man was have been the most popular.
Oh, of course.
So like they obviously like turned it into a game, and they got popular from there.
Oh yeah. And how do you feel about gameplay? Like we're talking about like Until Dawn, Slender Man, where it's basically you just walk around. Do you think that's a lot better than something like Resident Evil?
I mean, each game does things differently. I mean, you don't necessarily kill and until dawn, but they still find a way to make it enjoyable, fun, and scary.
Yeah, you're right. And the and one of those games I was thinking about was like, what talking about Resident Evil. The one game I was thinking about was Silent Hill,
Hmm.
where essentially you just kind of walking around. I haven't played much of the game, so you can probably like correct me whenever you want. Essentially, you can walk around, running away from some sort of creature. There's some sort of fight mechanics in there.
Like,
Am I right? Am I
like
hitting the ballpark?
let's say I'm only very familiar with like the first three. I know like in Silent Hill, like yeah, like you're being chased into by the Pyramid Head, but the
He literally has a pyramid for a head.
yeah, like the main part about Silent Hill is like these people like they go to their own personal hell,
Yeah.
and each hell represents something. Like again, in Silent Hill 2, like it represents the man is trying to run away from the sexual deviancy, like he'll be harassing people and all that stuff,
Mm,
and that is represented with a Pyramid Head,
got it.
and it does show. There's this one scene with Pyramid Head and the nurses, and you can pretty much imagine what
Yeah,
happens
I
there.
remember Pyramid Head. Look, whenever someone made a live action movie out of that and shit.
Like the first one, like is literally about the first game. They just changed from Harry to the girl's mother this time, and then the second one they just added Pyramid Head, even though he had there's no correlation or no need for him whatsoever.
He was the poster child
Or
of
was
the
it?
game.
Yeah, pretty much. But he only appeared in one game. That's about it.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Especially that's other
Yeah,
shit.
because the gameplay for that game was basically you said go through your own hell and you gotta do. I'm guessing each character had to do something of their own, right?
Yeah, they had to go through their own personal demons and stuff like
Hmm.
that.
So like, what does a horror game have to for you have to do to make you feel more immersed into the game? What makes like Silent Hill different from Resident Evil, different from PT, different from um, Until Dawn, different from Five Nights at Freddy?
All right.
Like how does the immersion work for you?
All right. So in Resident Evil, like there it's a very well known franchise. We know the characters like Chris, Leon, Jill Valentine, and basically we love these characters. But in Resident Evil, we're it's mostly a sense of survival.
Yeah,
Like since they created a survival horror genre for gaming.
yeah. Because I remember in the first game, everyone like that dog. There's a dog that kind of like randomly shows up and it usually jumps out of a window and you have to defend yourself from it.
Yeah, that or if you're being stupid, you open the front door and let them in.
Yeah, like that's why you can always close the door after you go in somewhere. But like they would randomly come out of nowhere and you were just sitting there. I mean, we talked about jump scares earlier, but that was a good setup
Yeah.
for like to feel like you're already that's how immersed you are in the game. That
Yeah.
you're paying attention to like what you're doing, making sure you don't get killed or like mauled by some dogs. And if just one little mistake gets you screwed up, and you're like, oh, I'm out.
Yeah, so in Resident Evil, it's survival, and you're given all these animals, and you're trying to get out of there alive without these things killing you. And
Yeah,
then when you compare it to games like Silent Hill, uh, it does in the same vein, kind of be like Resident Evil, like you explore things trying to survive, but also like in Resident Evil, they give you the setup. Yeah, you're stuck in a police station with zombies, or you're in a mansion with zombies. But in Silent Hill, you just suddenly appear in this town out of nowhere, and there's just fog everywhere, and
yeah,
you're not giving any exposition or anything like that. Well, obviously, like you're trying to find your daughter in the first game,
yeah.
but yeah, like you're basically clueless of what's going on, and you have to go around like looking up all these clues and see what the hell is going on.
There's a sense that you have to like be a part of the game in order to understand what's going on in order for you to survive.
Yeah,
And that's the key idea for immersion game for people to be immersed in a game. You have to be involved. That's why in most games you tend to have the silent protagonist because you want to be a part of that game,
yeah,
and that's how you do it with the silent protagonist. But no, the horror games, I think it works different because you essentially have to make sure you capture that sort of, like I said earlier, ambiance,
mm-hmm.
so that way you feel part of the game. We talked about Until Dawn. That
Mm-hmm.
was how long was that game popular for a good couple months, right?
Like it was.
Because like people were so immersed into the game, they want to make sure because there's an option in the game
Mm-hmm.
where you can have everyone survive.
Yeah, like that's also a thing. Like it did like a Telltale approach, but way better. So every choice did matter,
Yeah,
and so if this one character died, then everything will change the
yeah.
story.
Who was it that I think it was probably someone like PewDiePie or Markiplier, one of those big YouTuber gamers. They would try to make sure they get everyone alive.
Yeah.
And like they recently came out with a new game, Man of Medan, which I don't know. Did it live up to expectation?
I haven't got a chance to see that yet, but I'm hoping it might be good because the last game they released was for a VR. I think
Mm-hmm.
it was basically a prequel for Until Dawn.
Well, I'm saying because the game came out not too long ago,
Yeah,
and like I haven't heard anything from it.
I mean, I haven't heard much from it either, but I'm hoping it's good.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's another thing about it, like if you sense of immersion, because I watched like the first like 5 minutes of the game. Your choices depends on how things go. There's an earlier scene where depending on how you choose these cards, because you're playing as like this soldier in China.
Mhm.
He's a U.S. soldier in China. I guess he was stationed there, and he had to like do some stuff with this old Chinese. It's always an old Chinese dude. I don't
Yeah,
know what I said. Doing some weird fortune telling stuff, and you choose like what happens. You choose the cards and stuff, and then whatever happens there kind of leads into what happens in the game
yeah,
later on with the whole horror aspect. Because I remember like you're like this dude was playing it as like, and the cards say that your son will die, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh no, that is not a good idea. And I'm like, oh man, I want to see what this happens. But then I kind of, it was like I said, like the first 5 to 10 minutes or whatever.
yeah,
I couldn't tell what happened. I was like, oh, I want to see what happens. But that's how I'm not even playing the game and I'm immersed.
yeah.
And that's how good I think those guys are doing it. And you, with a lot of hard games,
Mhm.
like even if you're not playing it, you're kind of immersed.
Yeah.
Because the other game that was hot for a while was Five Nights at Freddy,
Oh yes.
and like everyone who I mostly saw through the gameplay videos because I was like I don't feel like playing this game, but let me see how it goes out first.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is really interesting. Like because the whole idea of the game
Mhm.
is you are a security guard, you're sitting at a table, you're checking this like all these little monitors, making sure like these possessed demon we I can't really explain why they're possessed animatronics. Like imagine evil Chuck E. Cheese trying to kill you.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Oh yeah.
Like the the one problem with the games though is like pretty much once you played one, you played them all.
Oh yeah.
But the reason you would want to keep going back to it, and I would admit, is the lore behind these games. Like,
Yeah, the lore and like you say like they're all kind of they're dime a dozen because if you play one you play them all.
yeah,
But I feel like the difficulty keeps getting bigger and bigger
yeah,
as the games progress. And I'm saying like Five Nights 2 I felt like was a lot more challenging
hmm
than Five Nights 1, and then like we get to other ones and stuff like that. But
yeah,
rarely do you ever hear stories in horror games though, because like some of the games that are like really popular right now are what's that game? There's the Friday the 13th game that
hmm
was out for that came out not too long ago,
yeah,
where essentially you're playing as Freddy. Wait, did I say Freddy?
yeah,
I mean Jason from Friday the 13th.
yeah,
You're either playing as Jason or the other guys are playing, or you're playing as one of the camp counselors just trying to escape Freddy.
yeah,
And it's like I would say a team-based game, or
yeah,
you can play solo, or you can play with your friends,
yeah,
and you're all like in the woods trying to escape Jason, and he's like doing whatever he can to kill everybody while you're trying to escape.
yeah,
And that's one of like there's no story in there, and I don't think there needs to be story because it's a Friday the 13th movie. All you need came in this to see
yeah,
um, Jason or Freddy kill somebody.
yeah,
But nowadays we have like Until Dawn,
hmm
um, Five Nights at Freddy to an extent, and like Resident Evil, especially with the newest one that just came out, like what Resident Evil 7,
uh,
the one where you're stuck in a house with all these like
yeah, that one,
yeah like there's story now, and you don't really tend to see you really don't see that in like in the older games unless they were like from Japan, like Silent Hill,
yeah,
where like there's an actual like you said like going through your own personal hell.
hmm
That sounds like an awesome movie premise. I hope they don't do that.
yeah,
Because like why do that? It's I like the idea of some of these horror games having story because now you're more, like I said earlier, immersed. You care because because to be honest, I did not give two shits about the guys from Until Dawn.
oh yeah,
I did not give two shits. They were assholes. Like what? Like the stuff. Like if you ever play the game, go for it. It's a fun game. Just know that you want to save everyone, but at the same time you kind of don't.
yeah. Like there's a couple of characters I hated, but I still try to make them survive anyway. because they want the best ending.
Yeah, you want the ending where like, because I remember the ending was like they're all getting interviewed and they're like, I did nothing wrong, and we're like, bullshit, you did everything wrong. And I'm like, oh, but that's how immersed I am to the story because I already don't like these guys,
Yeah,
but I still kind of want to save them because because there's a chance I can save them and I can get a sort of ending where I'm like, I can yell at them all I want.
yeah,
it's but it's weird that they have these stories now. You don't really see them nowadays. Back in the day.
yeah. Like I'm starting to see like this new trend. I mean, it's not as big as what's going on right now with the games like battle royale, but like mostly we're starting to see more of these 4v1 games. Like again with Friday the 13th and this one other game with that has a bunch of other horror stuff in there.
That's the game I'm thinking about right now, but I can't think of the top of my head.
Yeah,
What's it
and
called?
I can't remember what it was, but
Is it Dead by Daylight?
yeah, Dead by
Yeah,
Daylight.
yeah, yeah. And that
Yeah,
one's pretty fun.
yeah, and just recently, Capcom just announced Project Resistance, which is their take on that. So you're playing as four survivors. And,
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
Because like there's like now like we're talking about horror games. They're always trying to renovate it because like it's not that it's a dying art thing, but it's like you know we can't keep doing the same thing over and over again.
yeah,
We gotta do something new.
yeah, and they've been trying to make a multiplayer Resident Evil game for a while now.
Oh yeah, I
Like,
believe that.
yeah, and like I said, it's gonna be 4v1, so four people are stuck in umbrella laboratories and they're trying to escape, and one of you gets to play as the mastermind, unleashing all these BOWs, traps, and
It's
everything.
funny how those kind of games have been around longer.
Hmm.
We mentioned Dead by Daylight, like Friday the 13th. There was a earlier game I think it was made by EA. It was I think it's called Evolve.
Oh no, 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 that was 2K.
2K, 2K. Because my brother was playing that, and he says it's fun, but it's very tedious for both sides. And yeah,
Like
if you don't got the gameplay for it, man, I'm sorry.
like no, like imagine this. Imagine like one of you gets to play as a giant kaiju, and you're just running around in circles away from these four other
And
players.
yeah, you're a giant monster, and you just trying to kill players. That like it takes forever for you for just to level up.
Yeah, and there's a lot of season passes that are overpriced and
Oh
shit.
yeah, there was. I remember now. My brother was so mad.
Yeah,
But no, there's so many things you gotta that makes like a horror video game. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about the scares. Like,
yeah,
if the scares aren't effective, then like what's kind of the point?
yeah,
Because like that was the thing about Evolve. It was kind of like this survival horror game, but there wasn't very much horror to it.
yeah.
And Friday the 13th, the only cool thing, graphics wise, it's kind of crap.
I mean, it's an indie game.
It's an indie game, but like the only reason it's still alive because like the gameplay is interesting, but also the whole the way Freddy just oh my god, I think Fred Jason, his name is Jason. I know this. That like Jason is cutting. It's just how Jason just cuts people up and like violently just kills these teens.
Yeah,
And but like it gets to a point where like yeah okay I see it all. But games like Until Dawn,
hmm,
hopefully Man of Medan,
yeah,
they give you this sort of new take on it, and that's a lot more interesting for us
yeah.
to take as an audience. But yeah, those are. I mean, that to me is what makes a horror game.
I mean, yeah. Like you said, like it doesn't really necessarily need the story these days. Just recently I found out about this VR horror game, which I need a Japanese PlayStation account to download it.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, but once you get it, it's a little pricey, but it should be worth the experience though.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like red light, green light, and you're trying to get closer to this little girl at the end of the hallway.
Why would you get it close to a little girl in the hallway?
Like,
Has no one seen The Shining?
yeah, and the closer you get, the more horrific and terrifying it gets.
Oh, so it's a test of it's a test of fear, I guess.
Like, yeah, it's a test of fear.
There was another VR game because well at this point we're just gonna talk about some of our favorite horror games.
Yeah,
But there was a recent VR game where like it involved I want to say it involved murdered clowns where you just like walk around. It's probably just one of those generic ones that I'm thinking of
hmm,
where it's like it's basically a carnival setting, killer clowns and all that stuff, which you have make them are a thing again because it's Pennywise
yeah,
and stuff. But yeah, that's one of the games I always think of when it comes to horror because that's a very good It's very good. VR is very good when it comes to horror games.
Oh, it is. I mean, you don't even have to go all out. You just need something simple as a plank outside of an elevator at a skyscraper. That shit always gets you.
Is there one for like that?
Well, yeah, like of course you have to buy yourself like a plank of wood at a Home Depot. But once you have it set up at your house, you get your friend to try it on, walk out, and it just with the wobbling of the plank, it just feels so real that you feel like you're gonna fall
Well,
down.
I mean, you're because at that point you lose all your senses.
Yeah,
Because like I was playing a VR game not too long ago, where like I don't like I barely even know where I'm walking. I'm looking like a goddamn idiot in the middle of the room doing some dumb stuff,
yeah,
and like I forget that anyone's there. And when I take them off, I'm like, oh wow, holy crap,
yeah.
that's terrifying. And like there's a moment in the game where I look over the edge. I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm about to fall. I know there's a wall there, but like horror games in VR have worked so well because you already like get that whole ambiance and the immersion thing. Because like once you're in it, you're in it. Thankfully, you don't die.
Yeah, and gladly, if you don't have VR, that's fine because Capcom they still proved to me that you can still have horror without VR. I mean,
Oh, of course.
yeah, because I played Resident Evil 7 entirely in VR, and I don't think I could ever play that game without it. But then when I played the Resident Evil 2 remake, I was just scared probably even more than how much I was scared in Resident Evil 7.
Oh yeah, and like the whole Resident Evil games are like so much fun. The weird thing is like there was a point I think it was between 5 and 6
Mm-hmm.
where they just become just straight action games.
Yeah, like 4, it was a little more leaning to the horror action, and then 5 came out with a co-op play. That sold a
Yeah.
lot more, and so they tried to go more action oriented. And then when 6 came out, it's kind of funny how they describe it. It's like, so is it a horror game? We don't like to call it survival horror. We like to call it dramatic horror.
Oh yeah. No, it's funny because you talk about because I think it was 5. You know, the Resident Evil, and they're not just known as video games, also known as films. Do you remember? I think it was. I forget which Resident Evil movie it was, but it was one where they literally recreated the scene from Resident Evil 5, where it
No,
was
I know what you're talking about, but
that was so cringe. Oh my god! And what's worse is they had a perfect circle playing, and
yeah,
I was like, "Don't you do this? Don't you do this to that band?"
I mean, it was just god awful.
It was god awful. And those they didn't see. That's the thing. They don't capture what makes Resident Evil horror games so good.
Yeah,
It's become more of a like an action set piece.
yeah, like they noticed that, like, okay, 5 is selling a lot more. People are saying it's more actiony. We're making millions of dollars off the movies in Hollywood. That's making us money. How about we turn it into a full-on action series?
And that didn't work.
No, no, we
Because I
hated it.
remember, because I remember everyone was. I wasn't that like I'm okay. I'm not that into Resident Evil. Like I said, I only played 4,
Mm-hmm.
but like the whole 6, I remember hearing everyone and their mother saying like how much they hate this game. And then some of my friends were like, well, I don't know what they're talking about. It's a fun game. I'm like, yeah, because you like action games.
Yeah,
And then like as soon as that was done, like we got like a was it a demo for Resident Evil 7, but it was called or something else.
like for what I remember, no one knew it was Resident Evil 7 at the time. It was a simple VR demo called Kitchen. People absolutely loved it, how scary it was. And then it wasn't until the year after on E3 again,
Yeah.
it was actually announced as 7.
Ooh, that's right. I remember that now.
Yeah, and then they came out with a demo later that night where basically you're inside the
Later that
house.
night. Yeah.
Well, for me, the next day, because places doesn't update their shit till the morning.
Oh yeah. No, I got you. And yeah, I mean the whole thing was survive. That's the one thing I like about Resident Evil is the whole like, if you don't get your shit together, you're gonna get fucked so bad.
No, yeah, like I remember, like in the 2 remake, like I was trying to figure out what the hell I was supposed to do. I was running out of bullets, and it took me I don't know how long to realize, oh, I was supposed to be doing this the whole time. I'm so
Oh
stupid.
yeah,
And then I have like maybe like 5 bullets left. I gotta survive going all the way to that.
dude. Talking about Resident Evil's 5, we can't. We mentioned all these games, and we're gonna talking about them right now. Until Dawn was insane,
Dude,
dude.
like I know, like I remember.
In terms of survival, I couldn't really do it. Like I was hanging out with a friend.
Mhm.
He was letting me play like Until Dawn, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I think it was like it was a scene where that one dude was running off of like this broken bridge, and he missed because I missed, and he fell down, and like there was for a reason I don't remember why there was a hook
Yeah.
like a big fishing hook, like that kind of hook,
Yeah.
and he landed. Oh, it was a construction hook, whatever. But he landed, his neck landed on like right where his mouth, like the bottom part of his jaw is,
Yeah.
and I was like, what the? I was trying to run away from this monster. I ended up killing. Okay, man.
Yeah. No,
I
but
was like so mad at the end of that game.
yeah. Oh, here's the tip. Once you
Yeah.
make a choice, try you don't try to stay committed to it, but also don't. Because I remember this one choice in the game. I was gonna make this choice, but right in the middle of the action, I changed my mind, and then something else happened, and
Oh yeah,
then somehow that helped me. Got almost everyone survived out.
dude, I mean, I want to play Man of Medan so bad because, like, well, I'm mostly an Xbox player, and this is the first one they're releasing on like multi-platform. Because
Yeah.
Until Dawn was all PlayStation exclusivity.
Yeah, like they were mostly a PlayStation studio at the
Yeah,
time.
and I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, I kind of need more money. So yeah, and yeah, so like I'll be sure to get that when I can. And it looks so much fun because I really enjoyed that whole choosing your aspect of what could happen.
Yeah.
Because that was like so much fun. What other horror game is out there that we haven't talked about?
Ooh,
That's really fun.
I'm trying to think of that right now. Let's see. Uh, let's see. If we're talking straight up scary horror games, you're gonna have to give me time with that. But I could give you some like horror games I grew up playing a lot in the arcades, like House of the Dead, Card Evil.
I don't remember that.
Like, all right, well, House of the Dead, you probably know that well. Like,
Mm.
basically, it's a Sega like a arcade shooter.
Mm.
Zombies all around, shoot 'em up, bad acting. Like, oh, help me! I'm dying.
Dude, I hated this so much.
Yeah, but Carnival like was probably one of the few like that try to take it seriously, and it kind of worked.
Yeah.
Basically, this kid somehow like brings up but alive an evil circus. You got zombie clowns,
Mm.
demonic, trapezes, all that stuff.
Everything a child would be afraid of.
No, yeah, no, like it was so scary that midway they actually added a function to the arcade cabinets where you can censor the game. It'll change certain aspects to make it less scary.
Oh, really? Jesus.
Yeah, like I remember like this one scene. One of the boss battles was supposed to be like a giant psychotic baby, and like no joke.
Okay.
Apparently,
Are we pulling a Dante's Inferno where like everyone was mad because they advertised that you can kill unbaptized babies? Oh Jesus,
like
I wouldn't even count that as a horror game.
like
Dante's Inferno, but yeah, continue.
yeah, like no, like it's like a zombie baby or something. I don't remember, but yeah, like some people were complaining it was a little too scary. It's like you shouldn't put these games in the arcades. My son could be playing them.
I mean, well, then why are you letting your? That's up to you, man.
Yeah, so they have an option where you can
Yeah.
switch it and it'll censor the baby into like a bloodthirsty teddy bear.
That doesn't make it any better.
Yeah.
Speaking of teddy bears, dude, Five Nights has been on forever. I think it's too dang long.
Yeah, like, but if I've been thinking about giving it another shot because apparently they made a Five Nights at Freddy VR game where it has 1, 2, and 3 all in one. And from what I'm hearing, it's actually a lot better than the previous releases because now it's in VR.
So like, if I've played the first one and I remember how difficult it was trying to like keep track of everything,
Mm-hmm.
and like I'm just like sitting there and like in my living room playing the game, and all of a sudden like you hear that because like that's the sound they make, this very loud screeching noise, and then you have headphones on, which God, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Like I immediately like jumped up and my mom was like, "What happened?" Like, don't worry, I just get scared. And she said some stuff in Spanish. I'm not gonna say here.
Yeah.
No, but the Five Nights has been going on for so long. It's kind of funny how like they just drop out of nowhere.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, like, I remember
Like one of those actual animatronics.
yeah, like believe it or not, like Five Nights at Freddy, that was supposed to be a Kickstarter game, but no one, and I mean absolutely no one funded it. So like Scott Cawthon's like, you know what, screw it, I'll just make it myself with my money, and look where he is right now.
Right, and supposedly we're gonna get a movie and all this crap. We got books,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's the lore in it. Surprisingly enough, the game that doesn't have that much story content has a lot of story,
Yeah.
and it's like the story is more scarier than the actual game, in my opinion.
Yeah, like apparently, like, I don't remember the whole gist of it. I just remember like
Just watch any of the game theory videos by Matt Pat. You'll find it,
yes.
because like he has good God help that man.
I mean, That's what gets into the money on YouTube.
Oh yeah, someone was like, "Why does he keep doing these?" Like,
Money.
money.
It's free real estate.
Oh yeah, and they're like, "Well, he doesn't have to do it." Like, those are his most viewed videos. He has to do
Yeah.
it.
Like,
No, but like so the story is like this weird thing involving a father and their sons. Um,
yeah, and then there's a murder that happens, and then they
um,
stuff the kids' dead bodies into these animatronic suits. And
which I'm like, that's a lot more better than the actual game. I'm not saying the game isn't that scary at points, depending on what you consider is scary.
yeah.
But like, it works.
Mm-hmm.
It just very well. Like I said earlier, it does very good with the ambiance. You're very immersed with it. The music is very creepy because oftentimes when you die, they play the little like birthday music, and
Yeah.
like all you see is like flashing lights. I'm like, okay, this is where I'm gonna die, and it's done well. But like the story, but aside from that, that's about it. Like you said, it's just we play one, you play them all.
Yeah.
But the story itself is like, I want more of this.
If you want more, like I would probably suggest the VR game because they do a lot more. Because like one of the criticism I have with Five Nights at Freddy's, like there's very little animation whatsoever. Again, look
Now,
like
by animation, you mean actual cartoons or like actual stuff that the
like
animatronics do?
like the animatronics are
Okay.
they're pretty much just static the
Yeah,
whole time,
yeah,
which
the actual gameplay.
I get. It adds to the horror thing.
Yeah.
But like over the years with all these games and stuff, like you think you add a little something, which he does, but very rarely.
Okay.
But within the VR game, like you actually do hear like yeah. So in the original, you don't hear like the animatronics moving whatsoever or anything. But in the VR game, for what I played, you actually do hear them like all the rusting and moving around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That extra little detail.
yeah. And then if you turn on the light at the right time, you'll see like one of the animatronics moving, and it's like oh shit, and then you just shut the door right there. Cause like instead of just like
then just like standing there like
yeah, like this, like yeah, just with a stupid face on and everything. Like you see them, you turn on the light, you see them walking. They're closer to the door from the window. You just shut the door right away because like, oh shit, he's almost there.
which one of the games do you think is the most scariest? Because I think three, where it's like the animatronic Snaptrack. Well, that was his name, right?
Uh, I don't remember, but yeah, it's the old rotting one.
Yeah, that was for me like the scariest looking one because he's just like because they've actually put animation on that one where he's just like going all zombie walk and stuff.
Yeah,
So I was like, oh man, that's actually kind of scary.
yeah.
I mean, like it's like I said, one out of the same, but but that's the one that actually freaked me out. I don't know about you.
Like, I mean, anything can be scary if you work it right. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was in the second one. Like in this one other room, you gotta like, do the wind the Jack in the Box, I think, and it has this little like, character.
Oh, the weeping one.
Yeah, the weeping one. Like that one can be just creepy alone. If I was stuck in alone, I'd be scared shitless.
Oh man, I know what you mean. Ah, any other games we could talk about in the meantime?
I mean, this game was popular at the time. They tried to do the same thing with the sequel, but it didn't do much. But Outlast was one of the originals as well.
Oh, I totally forgot about Outlast.
Yeah,
Dude, that was a weird ass.
yeah,
That was the game where like the trailers were like from a camera.
yeah. So yeah, in the game, you're playing as a journalist, and you're investigating about this insane asylum who've been like mistreating all the patients and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
you break inside, and you see all this horrors and abuse they all go through and everything. And you see all these psychotic inmates, like they escape, they kill everyone, and you're trying to start a whole cult and everything.
Oh Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
that's some weird shit.
And what's scary about it is like it has a sort of flashlight mechanic to it, where basically you'll go into these dark areas of the asylum, and you won't be able to see anything. So you have to rely on your camera's night vision to see what's going on.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you only have a certain amount of batteries left, so you got to keep exploring the place still and find batteries.
And if you don't, you're screwed.
Yeah, yeah. I have to try to traverse through the dark.
Jesus.
Like I still remember this one scene. Like I was running low on batteries, and I was stuck in this one corner, and there's this
Yeah.
psychotic dude walking around. So all I could do was just hide under the bed until like say he walks out, and he did. I just have to slowly walk around him.
Well, let me ask you this: would you consider? Because Kelvin, if you guys haven't noticed yet, Kelvin's not here.
Yeah.
He's got some stuff to do, as always. We love to have him over. And he was telling me he had this question for me that he wanted to bring up because he told me he was not gonna make it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna bring this to you. Would you consider like add-on games like Call of Duty Zombies like horror?
Uh, in a sense, you could. I mean,
Yeah, I thought like when he asked me that, I was like, I mean, you can kind of argue it. I don't really think it
I
consider
mean,
it.
most people won't say it, but I could argue the fact that it could be too,
Yeah,
because one, like, yeah, like each added round, there's more and more zombies, so you get into sense of dread of like you're running low on ammo, you gotta buy more ammo, better guns, and
yeah,
hope to God you survive to the next round because there's so much zombies that can take out bullets and all that shit.
yeah. Because it becomes more survival
Yeah,
as later as it goes. But I think like later on, it kind of became less like scary.
I mean, yeah, like they're trying to focus so much more into it. Like I remember in Black Ops 3, yeah, this war themed map, which I thought was a neat idea at the time.
Was it three or I don't remember which Call of Duty it was. It was one where like because at that point it became a parody. Like they just had like all these different characters.
Like, um,
They were trapped in an amusement park and they had like these special kind of weapons that
ooh,
really make no sense. You know what I'm talking about, right?
like, yeah, I think those. Well, yeah, whenever you bring those up, first, I know it's not the Treyarch games
No, no, no,
because
no.
at this point I only play games from Treyarch, but even they're starting to lose me. But yeah, like I think it was either Sledgehammer games or Infinity War. They try to recapture what Treyarch did, and they failed to do it.
Yeah.
Like I remember,
That's what I told him when he asked me this. Was like, you can kind of argue it,
yeah,
but like at some point they just started becoming a parody, so I don't really like consider it that much. But you get earlier ones, I think you can consider those as horror, more like horror survival, but like I wouldn't say it's full on horror,
yeah.
which is I mean kind of sad.
I mean, kind of like Resident Evil 4. Like, yes, there's horror elements in there, and there's some shit that still scares me in the game. But
Yeah,
when you look at it, it's still more of an action horror game than
well, I
horror
mean
horror.
Resident Evil 4 had not just zombies but crazy town people.
Like, oh, like and a crazy cult where they rely on these parasites inside them.
Exactly, like there's a lot of stuff to be afraid of in that game.
Yeah, like I remember like the designs of these parasites, how they look, they're just disgusting, and it freaks me out.
Oh yeah. Oh here's another game that I think you might have played. I haven't played it, but I've always been tempted to try it. The Evil Within.
The Evil Within. Oh, I've been meaning to play that too, but yeah, I think it was. I heard it was actually pretty good. Like
Yeah.
I don't know about the sequel, but yeah, like they got the same director, Shinji Mikami, to work on this game.
And Shinji Mikami worked on what specifically?
Um, I know he did Resident Evil 4,
Oh, okay.
and I did believe 5. I don't remember much because I know that each game had like a different director, like Hideki Kamiya. He was doing Resident Evil 2.
Yeah. And like, no, because I remember watching the trailers because there's an overarching story and like the 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 trailers made it seem a lot more horror.
Yeah,
There's the whole the infamous like one of the famous the cover of the game is usually is this dude screaming up to the air
yeah.
covered in barbed wire, which
Oh, I
I'm
saw
like,
that.
oh, that looks nasty.
Yeah, like so remember that trailer. Like you see this puddle of blood, you see this weird monster thing, crawling out of it.
Yeah, this. I mean, that's any other games in the top of your mind?
I mean, I'm trying to think of some like I don't know why I'm thinking like games with out of the nowhere horror stuff. Like for me like Metal Gear Solid 3. Like I remember like one part you fall off a waterfall and you're just walking through a river and this one character. So basically, what it was a cool thing too because like every
Yeah,
character you killed, they come out as ghosts and basically haunt you. Say like, look what you've done. This is all like lives you didn't have to kill. Like
Kojima, you crazy man.
yeah, man, like, and once the ghost attaches to you, they pops up like a flashy horror image. Like the ambiance and everything in that scene, like, was
I mean, that works though.
it works. But horror games, exact. I'm trying to think of one.
It's hard to really think about them because like they're there, but you don't really see them as much.
Yeah.
Because I'm also thinking of like one game that I wouldn't really consider horror,
Mm-hmm.
especially considering now, which is Devil May Cry 1.
Oh yeah, because it originally was supposed to be Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, that was originally the going to be a Resident Evil game. He was going to be called Tony Redgrave or
Mm-hmm.
Red.
No,
Something
it
like
was supposed to be Leon,
Yeah.
and the whole point was to, like to add psychological effects similar to Silent Hill.
Yeah,
But
they,
apparently,
they started going more demonic, and
yes,
we got ourselves Devil May Cry, which I'm a huge fan of.
great fan. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and like the first one was more horror. Second one was
Like we don't talk about 2.
We don't talk about two. Now I actually tried playing that because I got the collection, the
Mhm.
HD collection when I was back in the day. I played through one and I was like, oh my god, this is such a great game. Let me try out two. Oh my god, what have I done?
Yeah, like, and then you start to feel bad for DMC because like this game is getting all the shit that DMC2 should have gotten.
Oh
I mean, which it did, but not to the level where DMC
Yeah,
got.
and then we get DMC Devil May Cry 3, which is more
The introduction of Virgil and all that cool stuff.
and like it became more fun. Like
Yeah.
it dropped the horror and became more of a fun action game. And same before in five. Five was probably the most fun actiony one.
Oh fuck
But
yeah.
it's so weird to see that transition from like what originally was kind of like this weird mix of horror and action
Yeah.
in the first one. Because I remember in the first one, I was like, there's a scene where one of the demons was like chasing you throughout the hallway,
Hmm.
and you had to like run and shoot at the same time because like you had to make sure it didn't follow you,
Yeah.
and you were stuck in this tight corner, and I was like, I can't do anything. I had to find a way to kill it because it was a boss, and it was really weird. And whenever you go say pick up a new item, pick up a new gun, pick up a new sword or whatever,
Hmm.
it like does this little effect where it kind of like freaks you out a bit,
Yeah.
and then when it goes back out, and I was like Jesus, and you're walking around this like really horrific mansion, and then like at some point it starts being more horror, more like fun.
Yeah.
But no, it was earlier in the game, and you felt that horror because like the ambiance, the music, and all that stuff.
Hmm.
But nah, it just became more of a fun game, and I'm really happy to have. So I don't know. You got anything else?
Uh, I'm trying to think, but I really can't think of it. Oh, I actually do got one. I do got one.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you played it, but it is an absolute cult classic. You ever heard of Deadly Premonition?
Oh, I heard of it. That's an old school Japanese game.
Yeah, like it is such a bizarre game. I mean, the only thing the only thing I can compare it to is what most other people compared it to, and it was to the show Twin Peaks, and that show was very weird too.
Oh yeah, it's very like it's basically you're trying to solve a child murder,
Yeah.
and there's ghosts involved,
Hmm.
and that's a much as I know. I know that for a reason there's a character who takes the pictures a lot.
Yeah, like it gets bizarre. Like you play as a FBI detective who has an imaginary friend, and he will talk to him in public like it's nothing. And I still remember this one like stupid scene that I still love to this day. It's basically this guy. He's in a wheelchair with a gas mask on for some reason,
Yeah.
and this guy, he has a guy who's translated for him, and he basically talking rhymes, and they were trying to order this thing called a cinnamon sandwich,
Mm.
which was strawberry jam, turkey, and cereal. And it was like, if you're really an FBI detective, you would give it a try. It's not good for FBI agents, to go on intuition.
Oh yeah, that's kind of the whole point of the game.
Yeah.
I just remember one we didn't talk about, and that is the Call of Cthulhu.
Oh.
That was like that. So like if a lot of people were talking about how that game didn't really focus that much on Cthulhu, but more on like the cult. Then I'm like, that's the whole point.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like, Cthulhu, like, it's basically a god, and you're trying to focus on the cult. You're not trying to face Cthulhu as a giant being that kills you instantly.
Well, I mean, like if you ever read the Lovecraftian books, like whenever you witness or you see Cthulhu,
Like, you go mad.
you go mad, and that is essentially what happens towards the end of the game because it's very much like psychological horror.
Hmm.
And I'm a big fan of like psychological horror stuff.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's a lot more realistic in my opinion, more than like say guys like Jason coming around chopping me up in itty bitty pieces, which is kind of funny to say.
Yeah.
But like stuff like Haunted Elector, that's always been like my thing where this dude just kind of plays with your mind.
Oh, yeah.
And so yeah, that was always my kind of stuff. So seeing Call of Cthulhu, which is like this mix of psychological horror and like sort of weird mystic stuff,
Hmm.
was like a great thing to see. And like I remember like just being able to see this weird like dichotomy of like is this actually happening? Is this not happening? And then we get to the ending where of course they call forth Cthulhu,
Yeah.
and a lot of if you know a lot of Lovecraftian things, it's always going to be weird and creepy and like stuff that you just don't understand.
It's just going to rustle your jeans.
It's just going to rust your jimmies. Because exactly, I mean, yeah, because like what happens at the end of the game is like everyone like Cthulhu shows up, you don't know what happens, then you see like everyone going mad. There's a scene where like I think someone's gouging someone's eyes out, and I'm like Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's a game that I would like to see more of. I don't know. Is there a sequel planned? I hope there is.
Probably, I haven't heard anything
Dude,
about
you
it.
have like the whole Lovecraftian. Because I think it's public domain now, so you can use any of those babies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's all the games I can think of right now.
I mean, I'm trying to remember what game influenced it. I think it was Bioshock. But before Bioshock, we had this game called System Shock.
Oh, okay. Is that
It's an old PC game. I'm not
okay?
sure if it ever made it to consoles, but that was like I believe that was supposed to be the original like Bioshock.
Bioshock didn't really become scary. Well, maybe in the early ones, but later on ones that I never really played Bioshock. My friends did, and they
Mm-hmm.
always like told me this stuff about it, and I'm like, I don't give a damn, you know.
Yeah.
But no, it sounded like more like a horror. But, oh, Dead Space.
Oh, Dead Space.
Dead
How
Space.
did we forget Dead Space?
I don't know because it's one of those weird things. Like I was talking about earlier with we were talking about earlier with Call of Duty. It's like it's kind of like a horror game, but it's
I
not.
mean, the first one was, two
Yeah.
was leading more to Resident Evil 4, and then EA completely boosted it with 3.
Oh yeah. Because like Dead Space is like it's basically take Ridley with a like a space marine
Mm-hmm.
with all the
Yeah,
weird creepy aliens, but at the time the aliens from the aliens movies, xenomorphs, we just up that up by like what 1,000.
yeah, it was pretty much aliens with Doom actually too as well,
Yeah.
because like there's an evil
See, I
cult bring
wouldn't
up
really call Doom a horror game though.
like no, but like I see some elements in Dead Space though, like like in Dead Space they form like an evil like, cult like church and everything, and they
Yeah.
bring that up, and that's happened too in the 2016 Doom.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. Anything else? I think that's about it. That's that one I can think of in the top of my head.
I mean, you can start naming like random stuff. Like, you remember the haunted house level on Mario 64? That piano?
Listen, Luigi's Mansion was the scariest game I ever played as a kid. Now I'm just kidding.
Not like
That was a fun game.
yeah, it was like I'll admit to like it made me jump once or twice when I was like playing it on the GameCube for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Dude, like that still kind of creeps me out too. Like there's a glitch in Luigi's Mansion where like with the lighting effect and everything, and this one part of the game, it kind of looked like Luigi was being hung in the shadows.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, that was a complete
So it was
accidental. Like
it was like one of those like supposed Munchkin hangings from Wizard of Oz.
yeah, but that was completely accidental. It was with the lighting system that was acting a little weird, but
Yeah.
and they fixed that in the 3DS remake,
Okay. I mean, we don't want to show someone hanging,
especially like a younger brother of a famous plumber.
right? Famous Italian plumber. I thought he was French when I was a kid. I don't know why. Or either French or Italian. But I mean, I think that's about it.
I think so.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you guys know it's we always have a fun time. I hope Kelvin comes the next time because he had a lot of ones to mention,
Mm-hmm.
but he's always kind of concerned whether or not I counted. And if you're watching Kelvin / listening, we confirmed that those do count. So he'll get on me for that later. But yeah, yeah, I think that's about it. So I think it's the best way to close it out now. So as you guys know, that's the end of this episode, and we'd like to thank you guys again for checking us out. And be sure to check us out at Castbox, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're still trying to work on Pandora. We'll let you know how that goes. But you can also check us out here on YouTube, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And be sure to follow us on our Instagram. We have a Facebook. We're kind of trying to work on. We might get something like a Twitter soon. By the time of this recording, maybe. And well, yeah, I think that's about it. So go ahead, Daniel. Lead us out.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys.
And this has been Eli from the Geek Centurions, and we are signing out.
All right. Later.